What's up, guys? Welcome to another exclusive interview within Level Up Bootcamp. Today, I'm here with Keone Hall, a good friend of mine who is really knowledgeable on a lot of different topics, such as copywriting, as masculinity, as fitness, pretty much everything. So, Keone, could you introduce yourself and talk about kind of like, yeah, just introduce yourself.
Tony, and I'm age 16. I'm from the UK, and I've been learning copywriting for about coming up to a year now, pushing to get quite a few clients on board. And it all started really for me with self-improvement, reading books, fitness. Fitness, to be fair, was where it started for me. Even just doing bicep curls with a paint bucket. But I used to be on a very different road in life, very different path, headed in the wrong direction. But then it all changed up here, and now I see myself in quite a good position compared to this time 2 years ago. So I'm here to talk to you guys and also talk to Josh about our different views.
Yeah, I love that, man. So what kind of induced that change for you? Because I know, nowadays with, a lot of the big kind of masculinity movements and everything with people like, Andrew Tate, Justin Waller, like Luke Belmar, those types of people are pushing a lot of changes out there. Do you think they influenced kind of that mindset shift for you? Or if not, like what kind of induced that big change?
Yeah, so I reckon so. It was partly because of the names out there, but also I came to the realization that doing what I was doing, living the life that I was living, was not going to set me up for a good future. It's not what I wanted. It's not going to get me a nice car, a big house, and it's just not the road to go down. Living a hedonistic lifestyle, smoking
Mhm.
weed, box, scrolling through TikTok, Instagram. It's not the lifestyle I wanted to live, and I've never really, I've never really wanted to be that sort of way when I was living like that. But it's I've described as quite a dangerous trap, which is hard to get out of, but it feels good when you're out of it.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
definitely. No, it's very relieving, I think, right? It's once you have
definitely,
that kind of mindset shift from, doing whatever you were doing that wasn't building you up, right? Into actually putting your time into, building your discipline and building your future and, building things that really matter to you, it makes a big change in your life, right? Like massive change. And that's probably how we met too, right? Like if you think of it like my entire network, your entire network now is probably comprising of people who well, I'm just guessing, like for the most part, right? Comprising of people who are kind of along the same journey or on the same mindset, right? Hopefully, right? I know it's pretty hard, sometimes to break out of your old friend groups and your old, network that is still going down the old path, right? But now, would you say you're mostly integrated with the right people?
I am, yeah. So this is actually my new Instagram account. I've got another one which is for personal stuff to speak to friends that I have outside of what I do. Sorry about that dog, guys. My neighbour's got a pit bull.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've got this account to sort of speak to people that inspire me, speak to people that are in a worse off position than me, people that are getting into fitness or getting into copywriting, but also to speak to people like you and way more successful people than me and anyone else we could know. To inspire me, really, this account is for, to inspire me, to inspire others, and to sort of, I don't know, act as a guide for my journey. Although I'm
Mhm.
not found my method of getting content out, but I follow the right people, I consume the right content on my Instagram. So I think I'm not attached to the life I used to live anymore.
Mhm.
That
I love that, dude. Like surrounding yourself with the right people is so important. Just the fact that, you and I can have these types of conversations, bro, is a massive privilege. I mean, you're all the way in UK, right? And I'm all the way on the other side of the US, right? And somehow we were able to meet each other and now we can really benefit off of what we know and kind of just enjoy this type of friendship and this type of knowledge that we each share. So I really like that, dude. Can you tell me a little bit about um like so you're a copywriter, right? You have a couple of clients maybe that you're working with. Like how did you kind of get into copywriting as
yeah.
of copywriting?
Right, so I got into copywriting. I've seen a few clips about drop shipping, SMA, and copywriting on Instagram when I all got into this sort of frame of mind, wanted to be a business owner, do my own thing, and make money from a laptop. I've seen clips on copywriting. It was one of Iman Gadsi's videos, I think, on YouTube, where he was comparing all the online side hustles, which one requires the least investment, which one is the easiest to learn, which one has the highest return on investment. And it came to me that it wasn't ranked copywriting. It wasn't ranked to be the easiest one, according to Iman Gadsi. But I know that I'm good at writing and I'm good at speaking, and I thought that would be the best path for me to go down to get into copywriting. So I looked for some online courses. The first one that I joined was it's called Educate by Iman Gadsi,
Mhm.
which great course. I was in there for 2 or 3 months, but it's not really the one for networking, unfortunately, because
Mhm.
any group chats and the group chats that there are restricted and hardly active. So then I looked for a different online course, and I also at this point started speaking to some successful copywriters, networking with individuals that are successful, hopping on calls with them to see what they have to say, getting free value out of everyone. And then I came across the Real World Hustlers University, you might know it as, and I joined this to see what it's like because I might as well try it out. And they educate better for content and learning, but the real world is way better. It's uncomparable for networking, and I feel like this has been my biggest advantage so far on my copywriting. Uh, so yeah, I would say it was Iman Gadzi that first got me into copywriting, but also
Mhm.
love for writing.
That's great, man. Yeah, that's a long journey, right? Isn't it cool kind of just looking back and seeing all the points connect, right? And it's amazing to kind of, see it's almost like a constellation how everything worked out, right? The fact that you're where you are now is just an amazing, almost like diagram of little points that had to come together, and it's pretty cool, isn't it?
I do have days though where I feel like, oh, I've done F4. This hasn't been a good day. I'm losing momentum. I've done nothing, or I didn't do what I wanted to do. But then I do just take a minute, take 5 minutes for a breather, look back at where I was 2 years ago, and I realise I have come pretty far, and I'm still carrying the momentum. I'm still progressing. Just we all have our down days, I guess, but
Mhm.
not the best when we do. But you have just got to look on a wider scope from where you've come from and where you are now, I guess.
Exactly, dude. And if you improve, every single day, and you still have that correct mindset, you don't detract from that, and you never stop, right? Then you will become successful, like eventually. And when that is, it isn't really your concern too much. Everyone operates on their own timeline. Of course, we see all these successful like 20-year-olds, online and stuff, but that really doesn't have to affect our journey at all. And the viewer's journey too. Like, yeah, whatever, or however you think your timeline is going, right? Don't compare it to others, right? Just enjoy where you're at. And maybe you're not in the perfect situation to be growing right now, but as long as you put in some effort every single day, you'll get there. You'll
Yeah,
get
but
there.
if you're not making money every single day or putting the steps in to make money, you can always be improving yourself, making your bed every morning, reading before you go to bed every night. The small things like that, really. And it's actually funny I said that because my mum bought me this book before I had a change in mindset, before I started out. Atomic Habits, it's called. And
Yeah.
on the second chapter,
Hey.
maybe there's a line saying, make and watch small. It was something like, make your bed every morning and other habits will follow. And so I got into making my bed every morning. I missed a few days at first, but then I got into making my bed every morning. And now I've seen loads of other habits follow. I was doing push ups every day, writing in a journal every day, which I have here, which I use as a notepad, writing it
Mhm.
every. And habits is a good one to get into to really focus on before before even thinking about making your first £1,000, you need to think about, right, what's bad that I'm doing in my life right now? What's good, and what habits can I implement to increase it?
Hmm. That's so important, dude. Like, it's really the everyday decisions, everyday habits, everyday discipline that you have, right? Like, it's, oh, sorry.
Compound interest it is. All the small habits they stack up and they just build you up.
Hmm. Exactly. You know, a lot of times people talk about, oh yeah, you need to have discipline, or like, yeah, and all these motivational pages and everything. But reality is, dude, like winning in one day is just a matter of, making those individual decisions. It's like, are you going to, make your bed, or are you going to not make your bed? That's literally a decision you have to make. Most people don't realize that. They're just like, I'm just living life. But everything is the decision, dude. Like, are you going to go sit down and play the video game, or work on your business, or are you going to watch that movie, or go work out, right? That's the type of mindset you have to have.
100%. It's a good way to view it. It simples it down, and you take not taking knowledge from every.
Hmm. Love that, dude. So, what is some advice do you think you'd give to someone who's kind of stuck in that paradigm of not having the right habits, and they see the opportunities out there, they see the opportunity to become successful, and they see other people making success, but they can't really break free of that situation that they're in? Like, what advice would you give to them?
So I would first take take some time to sit down and understand what you really want from life, what job you want, where you want to live, sort of income you want. You got to think about what you want out of life, hobbies, all of that. Where you want to go on holiday every year. You got to think about everything you want in your life in say 10 years time, and you've got to first accept that living the life that you're currently living, seeking hedonistic actions like scrolling on TikTok, playing Xbox, you got to realize that seeking hedonistic actions like that is not going to get you the life that you've just thought and described as that you want. And then you've got to try and remove as many bad habits as you can from your life. They go from an hour on TikTok every day to 10 minutes every day. I mean, it would be better if you could completely cut TikTok out and delete it, but it's definitely a start for someone that's got a foggy mind and never tried to improve at all. But it's all about focusing, it's all about pinpointing what you're doing wrong, I would say, and acknowledging that it's not going to get you what you want out of life, and it's not going to bring you the happiness and the happiness you feel in the present moment. It's not going to bring it to you in the long term. It's not going to bring it to you in 10 years' time when you're stuck in a crappy little job, not able to go on holiday every year or even whenever you want. You've you've got to really realize that currently the way you're living, the habits you do, every action is not gonna get you what you want out of life, I would say.
Hmm.
As and as soon as you take responsibility and acknowledgement that you're not living how you should be, you're not living the life that will get you to where you want to be, that is the first successful step that's going to get you on the right path. And then I would say is setting good habits, having a daily checklist, simple things like walk 5 minutes, read before you go to bed, even if it's one page. It follows with knowing what you want out of life, accepting that you're not currently on the path to get there, and then implementing good habits, and you will soon start to want to chase the feeling of, I would say, what would you describe the feeling as actually after a successful hard day work? What would I'd say a feeling of,
It's almost like fulfillment, but like kind of like almost deeper than that. It's like, you've done the best you can, and you don't regret anything. There's no regrets.
and almost becomes addictive, doesn't it? And you want to chase it for the day after the day after the day after that. So the sooner you get yourself in that loop where you felt real dopamine, real fulfillment, you're gonna want to improve every other day. You're gonna want to do your daily tasks. You're gonna want to implement better habits, and it really does just work. It freely flows when you get into the when you start it out. It will just come naturally eventually. And like I said previously, you will have your down days, but as long as you don't completely have 2, 3 down days in a row, then it's all good because we're all human. We all feel emotions, I guess. But as I said, it's getting an idea of what you want out of life first and acknowledging. It's about acknowledgement that you're not currently on the path that you should, I guess. And that would,
Yeah, so it sounds like to me, number one is kind of realizing a goal, right? Is kind of solidifying a goal in mind. And then second is taking responsibility and realizing that what you're doing at the moment is not bringing you towards that goal, right?
yeah,
So you got to change things. And that's the only person you can blame is you, because it's all your everyday decisions that's making that come to fruition. So then number three would be start building up habits, right? Healthy habits, start cutting away the nonsense, cut away the nonsense, and start building up good habits. You can read it in that Atomic Habits book, right? Just little things that will change your mindset. It's not like making your bed will make you rich, right? Some people will take it that far as a good hook. I say like, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's like, all right, is that kind of the comparison they're trying to make almost? But
does get sort of flowing state of a feeling of fulfillment, doesn't it? And that's where it begins, I guess. Feel the
mhm.
first true fulfillment, true dopamine. But for anybody that's looking to get into sort of improve their lives in the way that we're talking about, Atomic Habits would definitely be the go-to first book. I don't know about you, but this was my first book, my first non-fiction sort of book, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very useful for kind of breaking free of that too. And for like finances, I would just say if you're really bottom of the barrel with that, then even books like Rich Dad Poor Dad will change your mindset into. I mean, I wouldn't say that that's really the mindset of like a hustler per se, like what you need to be when you're starting off, especially nowadays. You can't just really go off and make a startup company and have a high chance of success. But if you just start hustling, you find out how to make little bits of money here and there with different money making methods, and you find out which one works for you, you double down on that, then boom, right? So Rich Dad Poor Dad would be a good choice, probably just to break free of that old mindset that you have of just like spending and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I remember from Rich Dad Poor Dad, it said, if you want to buy something more than £20 or a certain amount, if you want to buy something more than a certain amount, wait 24 hours, and if you still want it for 48 hours time, then you're free to buy it. But if you actually come to realize that you don't need it, you don't want to buy it, then don't. And that's the founding one of the first principles I think it mentions. Would I be right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, dude. That's a very useful principle. Just making sure what you want to buy is actually going to move you forward and is actually what you set out to be. Because, dude, nowadays marketing is genius. Like, people are and companies are just insane at just be able to manipulate your thoughts and things with their marketing tactics and getting you to buy. So, if you went around without that mindset, and you actually just bought whatever you wanted, then you'd be broke in a day, right? So
Even if you were a multimillionaire or you just won a lottery, you would be broken a day, as you say.
yeah, it's why you'll never reach that
Yeah.
multimillionaire status, without that mindset. Yeah.
Was this book then your
What was
first
that?
book?
Okay,
So
say that again.
was this your first sort of this style book that you read on the top?
Actually, it was. Yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad was one of the very first books I read. I think I read it when I was like 9 or something, like super small. I didn't really I wasn't really able to take it all in at that time, but I read it more recently, and yeah, it's one of those really foundational books. But Robert Kiyosaki, he's one of those more old school investors and like real estate investors, and kind of more old school that way. So a lot of the principles he teaches are really useful, but some of the more like practical implications might not be quite applicable to today. So that's something you just have to be conscious about when really taking in any information, dude, you got to evaluate every single thing you hear. There's got to be a filter inside your head, that's taking everything you hear to account, because nowadays, dude, like the subconscious programming and pretty much, in media and books and movies and in, music, it's big, right? It's a big problem, and people are making use of that, right? People who've understood how the subconscious mind works, and the people in control of all those big organizations and everything, they've decided to, kind of go down that route and find out how much, they could really program us into thinking a certain way, especially in the Western world. So when it comes to kind of like the new world order per se, like leading on to the next question, right? And you can answer it however you want, really. But like when we're kind of entering a new era almost of, lack of privacy, a higher security, all this stuff, like electric cars, all these security cameras, all these things coming out. And it almost to me feels, I don't want to jump the gun, but almost to me feels like a Trojan horse scenario, right? Where they present something as safe, as, oh yeah, this is great, this will improve your lifestyle, but you're going to have to sacrifice your security, you're going to have to sacrifice your privacy. So what do you think about that movement that's kind of coming? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I couldn't agree any more with what you said with the Trojan horse analogy. They definitely want to have more power over us. They definitely don't want us being free, because I guess they don't want people following. I would say they want a sense of control over the major population, but whilst maintaining control, they don't want it to be a sort of dictatorship where we know we're under control and we don't agree with the control. I think their long run game, I would say, they want us all to be under control, under their sort of possession, pretty much working for them, doing everything for them. But the majority of us, they want us to still feel like we've got complete freedom. And I heard someone say on Twitter the other day, you your freedom of speech is directly proportionate to, what was it? The freedom of speech is directly proportionate to your, it was something to your popularity, but it wasn't the word popularity. They,
Hmm.
I know, like me, I could say whatever I want on Instagram, Twitter. Nobody would be influenced by it, but someone like, I don't know, Elon Musk, he could say something outrageous, share an opinion on something, but he would have greater influence over a lot of people, and he would perhaps change how they think about a certain subject. And that's really what they don't want: big people that aren't outside of the governing body to have an influence on the population, I guess, because they want total control. And I mean, they even want the farming industry under their control, as we've seen with the protests in France. Yeah, it was France, weren't it? All the protests where they're spraying horse manure up the government buildings, the parliament. But I feel they want total control, and they, I feel like they want even sort of forecast what's going to happen in the next 100 years for humanity. I reckon they've got it set out for rules they'll introduce in 100 years, 50 years time for humanity to get them on this path of total control. Because right now we're definitely not there, but we're edging our way closer, I would say. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's an interesting time we live in, right? It's exciting. It's exciting. Um, yeah, dude, that's great. How do you think, you should, for a beginner, right, getting into kind of the gym, getting into, becoming more masculine, working out, maybe even fighting a little bit. How would you recommend that person to kind of take that shift and jump over, right? I know you talked about, the shift towards, changing your life entirely, right? Like building up habits, all that stuff. But how about like the little things? Like how about just like the gym in general? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
so I would somewhat link it to changing your identity. So, say we've got two people that both are trying to quit cigarettes. I've used this analogy before. Two people that are trying to quit smoking, and somebody offers them both a cigarette. one of them says, "No, sorry, I'm trying to quit. It's tempting, but I'm trying to quit." And the other person, they have more willpower, and they say, "No, sorry, I don't smoke cigarettes." They don't even say anymore. "No, sorry, I don't smoke cigarettes." And that is the identity, I guess, that you need to you need to change your identity almost in your head and embody the new person that you want to be almost without being egotistical. But say you want to get into the gym, you've gone to the gym once, but you don't really know if you're going to follow up and follow up. That's probably because you're telling yourself, "Oh yeah, I've gone to the gym once, but I'm not really a fitness person. I'm not a gym goer." But say if you go to the gym once, you maybe don't like it, but still you tell yourself, "Yeah, I'm a gym goer." You tell everybody you know, "Yeah, I go to the gym frequently." Then you sort of enforced an identity that you do the gym, which I guess you have to follow through with. And even so, it's about thinking. What I'm sure you want to seem masculine, don't you? You want to have broad shoulders. I guess you want to be able to fight. So even if you're not going to a gym, you could go to a martial arts gym. But it's all about knowing what you want out of life, really, because I'd say picture this scenario for a good example. You're walking down the street, it's a dark night, you and your girlfriend, you're walking on the street, and there's four, five, a group of guys. There's a group of guys all hooded up, walking your way, you're walking towards them, and then they show you some disrespect as to your girlfriend. They start saying bad things, and then they try and assault you. You don't want to be the guy that runs off with your girlfriend. You run off and leave your girlfriend stood there, do you? I'm sure you don't. You want to at least get a hit in one of them to show the rest of the guys that maybe you're not the right person for them to pick on. I guess it's all about, I guess, status and identity. I reckon for getting into fitness and for getting into fitness. I reckon it's about knowing who you want to become and taking the steps to become that guy. Even even if you start with 10 push-ups a day, that is identity. Somebody who does 10 push-ups a day. And identity is definitely the biggest part that plays a role in it, I would say.
I agree. You're forcing yourself to improve, right? And as long as decide to change your identity that that person who or that activity that is improving you, right? Then boom, might as well just double down on it. Like, why not say you're a gym rat? You just start off. Like, if anything is going to help you, improve your life, and it's not going to detract from it. All right. A lot of times people are scared of kind of like latching on to a new identity because it's difficult, especially if they built up friend groups that all know you for that, right? They all know you for that. And you're trying to like kind of prove something to them, maybe. And when they see you change, then it can be almost like embarrassing or uncomfortable, right? But that's really what you have to embrace when you know it's better for you, right? There's no reason to conform your identity to what other people want. You should always do it for yourself.
That's 100%.
Great. Any last thoughts on that? Or I think
I don't speak more on it. I will probably go off on a tangent, not linking it to other topics. So I think that's good what I've said for that, I would say.
great. All right, you guys will have to wait until next time so Keone can really start yapping off his opinions next time.
This podcast sort of interview style thing, guys. So I'm happy with the embarrassment I get. Not embarrassment, but I'm happy looking like an amateur. As long as I'm here talking to you, talking to Josh, I'll be improving every time. As I say, I'm taking the identity of someone who does this. I'm that guy, I guess.
Love it. Love it, dude. Hey, hopefully this was inspirational to you guys, and hopefully, you learned something new and you're able to take something away from this. So, hey, thank you, Keone, again for coming on, and I definitely look forward to next time we could talk. All right. Take care, guys. See you in the next video.